Right now, it's time for the Executive Edge. JP Morgan Chase launching the first policy center at the bank, aiming to try and advance policy solutions for an inclusive economy. Heather Higginbottom is the head of the new Public Policy Center at JP Morgan Chase. And Heather, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
For people who don't know your background, it's kind of an odd way to come to JP Morgan. You used to be a deputy secretary at the Secretary of State. You most recently were the chief operating officer at CARE USA, which is a big NGO. How'd you wind up at JP Morgan Chase?
Well, I've spent about 20 years working in government on a range of policies, and I was really excited with what JP Morgan was proposing, which was to create this new policy center focused on advancing inclusive economic growth and really leveraging all of the work that the firm does now in communities through data research, through our philanthropy, to identify where we have unique insights and expertise and develop and advance an agenda that will promote a more inclusive economy. I think it's unusual and it's a great opportunity.
When we say promote a more inclusive economy, what does that mean exactly?
Well, right now we know the economy works well for some people and it's not working well for others. And we think that business has a role to play in advancing some of the solutions to those problems. We're investing in cities like Chicago and Detroit, communities that we work in, and we see what's working. We know that there are opportunities to scale some of those things through policy and advocacy. And so that's the approach we're taking, and we're looking at a range of issues where we really have some unique expertise and insights.
Let's talk about your first big project that you're rolling out. This is a way of looking at people who have criminal backgrounds, criminal records. They're coming out and they're having a really tough time trying to find a way back into their workforce. What's your plan?
Well, 1 in 3 Americans has a criminal record, and that's a pretty stunning number when you think about it. And that record is a barrier to employment. And when you see the unemployment rate for people who are incarcerated 5 times that of the national unemployment rate at a time when businesses need jobs and communities need people to be earning an income and giving back, we think it's a really important priority. And so we're taking steps as a firm to be more inclusive in our hiring, and we're promoting a policy and advocacy agenda that will reduce some of those barriers.
How do you kind of look at that? Because if 1 in 3 Americans has a criminal record, that means a lot of people probably have done minor things that shouldn't get picked up. How do you kind of separate between?
Well, that's right. But the fact that they have a criminal record is still a barrier. And so what we're saying is companies should really find ways to have concerted efforts to have a broader applicant pool, and that we need policy change to reduce those barriers.
So when you say policy change, what would be needed to change?
There's several things we would do. First of all, we've banned the box as a firm, which means we've removed the checkbox asking about criminal background on an application. We saw last year that 10% of our new hires in the U.S. were people with criminal backgrounds, 2,100 people. We think promoting that policy throughout the country is really important. We also support restoring Pell Grants. That's providing education funding for people with low incomes inside prison. Will make a huge impact when people come out.
So when you talked about advocacy, how much of this is about lobbying in Washington, lobbying at the state level, going to different governors' offices? I mean, what's the strategy here?
Well, that's right. We are looking at the policy areas that we think really will make an impact, whether they're in Washington or in different state capitals, partnering with other organizations, other businesses, and going in and saying, we think these rules need to be changed.
Are you already doing that at JP Morgan Chase? Like you said, you've gotten rid of that box where you ask people if they have a criminal background.
That's right, and we're building on that effort. So we've just launched a new collaboration with community organizations to work with a broader population, both in training and mentoring, helping them go through the process. We've started this work in Chicago, and it's new, but just in 30 days, we've had 9 people come through this process and have job offers at JP Morgan. So we're excited about what we're going to learn, and we're going to take that approach to other cities as well.
How do you kind of differentiate between what people have done in the past, what the criminal backgrounds are? Like I would say in most places, white-collar crime wouldn't be such a big deal, but if you're a bank, maybe you have some additional concerns.
Well, we have federal regulations that we abide by, of course, and we always want to find the best person for the job. Right. We're not lowering our standards. We're just going out in a broader way. And so some of the crimes that people have committed in the last year that we hired them for might have been a DUI.
Or marijuana, I was thinking, yeah.
Do you still want to know? Do you still want to know what the crime was?
There's always a background check done at some point in the process, but what we don't want is a criminal record to be a precondition to.
So you kick them out before they even get started on the entire process. Right. Do you have other corporations that you're working with on this?
We're really excited to be launching this work for JP Morgan, and we're really excited to work with other businesses. There are some terrific businesses out there like Target, McDonald's, Delta Airlines that have taken a leadership role in this space. There are many more who want to. What we want to do is bring them together, share what we're doing, learn from one another, and make commitments to advance this hiring strategy.
You know, I bring up the BRT and what they recently said. I mean, it's created some pushback in some cases, but is this a big part of what they were talking about and trying to say you're looking for other shareholders? I mean, stakeholders. It seemed to me that JP Morgan was doing this already for a long time.
I think that's right. We have been doing that. And this is a demonstration of what we mean by the statement that was issued by the BRT. And we're eager to work with other businesses, other stakeholders, community leaders, policymakers to try to carry that forward. This is about impact, not just statements.
Heather, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.